March is Epilepsy Awareness Month, and did you know there are over 5,000 people in the Niagara region who are living with epilepsy? Epilepsy is a condition that causes sudden and brief changes in how the brain works and shows itself in the form of seizures.
My first seizure, I was actually in grade 8. It was right in front of my entire class. So basically, with tonic-clonics, you completely lose consciousness. You fall to the floor and your body basically shakes completely. And all I remember is basically I was in my class doing a school project, and then I woke up in a hospital and my parents were there. And they told me that I had a seizure, and I was weak. I had no energy or anything like that. I was in the hospital for about 3 days. And from there, it was basically just trying to figure out what caused it, what didn't. The only benefit of that is that my mom had epilepsy, so we had a background of information on what to go by.
Every day, 38 Canadians learn they have epilepsy. 60% of newly diagnosed patients are either senior citizens or young children. A patient who has had more than 2 seizures is described by a doctor as someone who has epilepsy.
I was 13 months old, and I seizured for over an hour. And found out I had a temperature of 105, and that's what triggered it.
Epilepsy can be controlled by medication, diet, lifestyle changes, and sometimes surgery. Darren was a prime candidate after suffering 600 seizures in 3 years.
The operation was 8 hours long, and I was awake for almost 5 of it. And it took 2 hours to open me and 2.5 hours to find my speech. And they took out the whole right temporal lobe. They said it was the piece of brain they took out was 7 centimeters by 5, and that's where the scar tissue was. And every time the seizure started, they started at the scar tissue, so they figured once the scar tissue was gone, the seizures would stop. It would be 20 years in April, and it would be 19 years seizure-free.
Epilepsy can greatly challenge one's ability to cope and function on a daily basis.
After the surgery, the recovery was 2.5 years, and I went through a period of depression, and it's not like a broken arm or a broken leg where you can actually see the healing occur, or you see your arm works now. It's the brain, and it was just very trying times.
For someone newly diagnosed, it is very stressful. Stress is one of the things that will definitely trigger you to have more seizures. So if you can go see a counselor, or Epilepsy Niagara has a lot of different services offered.
I was talking to a lady today who her son is going through hard times right now. And yeah, and if people ask me, I kind of refer them to Epilepsy Niagara for literature or support meetings.
Epilepsy Niagara provides education, awareness, and non-medical support services to those living with epilepsy in the Niagara region. Also, having family support and a positive outlook go a long way in controlling this condition.
I would say the main thing that kept me positive would be my parents. I would say my dad would have been my rock, and my mom my best friend. And the number one thing that always kept me intact was when they told me, don't let this disorder control you. You gotta keep your confidence high, because you know you're better than your actual disorder. You can conquer it. If I have confidence in myself over it and I did it, you can do it too.
If you'd like to learn more about epilepsy and the programs offered in the community, contact Epilepsy Niagara at 905-353-1096 or log on to our website at epilepsyniagara.org.